not everybody maybe heard. Pastor Bush said he is enjoying how much Pastor Grant cares about Jerusalem, Israel, the country, the city, Jerusalem. Yeah, it stirs us up. Anybody else? One thing, somebody gave me $100 bill to give to you. And I asked them, I said, are you sure this is going to get there? You know, let's have a prayer right now. Let God get this to where it's supposed to be. Because right now, it's in the hand of a thief. There you go. Can somebody get a picture of this? I want a lot of credit whenever I can get it. It's very unusual for anybody to see this right now.
I use bookmarks.
It's a bookmark.
I use bookmarks. That's kind of a new looking bookmark. Are you sure you don't need it because you also studied you need bookmarks? Should we have a prayer meeting? What to do with that?
I can find it for you.
This is interesting because literally there are ministers that when they go to a place to preach, before we even talk about coming, it's $7,000 in the bank account.
Yeah.
And then we talk about first class airplane and hotel for the speaker and his entourage, plus all the expenses and half of the collection on top of the 7,000 that came already upon the first talk. There are ministers literally that put money, that put bookmarks in words. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Now we need bookmarks and we need to use them, but boy, I thank God we're not about bookmarks.
Yeah, well, just think, like, let's say you come next year, right? We want him to come again.
Yeah.
But because he sees what's happening, he's going to change the conditions.
Oh, Pastor.
Yeah. But imagine if it was in your heart that you're going to go somewhere and it's connected with money.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and because we know his heart and your hearts, you know how beautiful when it has nothing to do with that. And then you do it, you know, and you're looking for God, and then you end up with a lot more than, you know, $7,000 in your bank account or something. I mean, you cannot put a price on what it means to have a friend, what it means to have an answer to prayer, what it means to have vision, what it means to love life and have love in your heart. I mean, wow, there's such a danger of how it can pollute me. So 1 Timothy 6 says, they pierce themselves through this, making me nervous. Just take it.
Are you sure it's God's will?
Yeah. Well, I don't. I'm only the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. No. So, what's the other one? Matthew 10:8. Pastor Stevens taught us this. It was freely you have received, and freely give. You know. Now, Jewin, let me mention Jewin here, and the Zeitlers are here, Grace and Pastor Tommy. That's amazing. Great to see you. Wow, come on. You traveled far, right? You came from Virginia or somewhere? 3 hours, okay, but listen, look at this. We got Taya right here. That just came today from Africa. That was our last night.
Where is she?
Last night.
Here.
Taya Cordeland, you know, in Switzerland.
From Africa.
She lives in Cyprus.
Wow.
But she was just with Pastor Shibeli and the
Wow.
team
Yeah.
in Africa.
Wow.
And she was in Cyprus, you know, the Cortiline, you know them, right? Is that a Cortiline? Yeah. You know, and her dad is Peter, isn't it? No. What? Bertie. Is that your brother? Vesa, yeah, you know Vesa?
Bertie.
Okay. And then his twin sister, Tanya, lives in Thailand, got married to Alex. Okay.
Wow.
He could care less. Wow. Okay, anyway. But this is the kicker. This is amazing. Juin,
Wow.
who's from Nepal, right there. You want to just raise your hand? He lives in the UK. He flew over here to be with you.
Wow.
He's here only 5 days.
Maybe it was for him.
But isn't that amazing? He came over for 5 days to be your
Wow.
pastor. That's amazing. Okay.
Wow. Now, it's always cool to think about God's faithfulness in the past. Grace had a picture when we were in Vienna, and we had a little meeting there, and Pastor Steve Pallaria was there, and a bunch of us. And that picture, I just hardly could recognize. 1981 or 82, we were in Vienna. Okay, so what should we fellowship about?
Okay.
Okay, now we are relaxed.
Yes.
We have three pastors who are relaxed. Now, what should we talk about?
I got some.
There's a question.
I want to ask them.
No, go ahead.
I asked them what stirred their heart, and somebody mentioned prayer, and the same for me. And I like the sentence you said about, you know, prayer is not about discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe, would you agree that you said that?
No. I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it turns to delight. So if we say it's not discipline, it could be misunderstood.
It's
But
about communion.
But yeah, communion and delight replaces then discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'd love to have him talk about a little bit. How about it?
Yeah.
I know that he has this love in his heart for God and the Word. And so anything that you can say along those lines of just loving God and the love in the communion, and you know, it just stirs us up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's beautiful. Okay, let me finish. Well, let me answer my own question. In this, I'm gonna say, look, Song of Solomon is such a, you know, thank you for sharing on that. That's like, really, and that the deer, you know, and you said freedom, love and freedom. So.
Yeah, the imagery is like about tender grapes that you can mess around them. Pastor Monty one year was speaking in the Kingdom of Hungary about this. Hungary, Magyar. Okay, he was speaking about these tender grapes and saying that if you handle them and push them a little bit to enhance them, you can kill the growth. You cannot, the oath was like, I make you swear by I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem. By the way, it's interesting because in Jerusalem we have a park which has these rows and heights. There's a deer park right inside of the city. There's trees, and when you drive a highway, you see the deer cruising there. So they're still there after 3,000 years. Pretty amazing. No, but it really says, by the rows and by the heights of the field, don't stir up, that ye stir not up, nor awake love of my love, till he please. Actually, I can say that much, that we were talking about the principles just a little bit, how growth cannot be pushed or forced in any stage. It takes divine skill of the parents to see how the children grow. When is the right time to nudge them to the next phase, but not push against their will, because they're not ready. No, I don't mean that God doesn't work on our will. We're very self-willed and stubborn in our flesh. But it's those chords of love by which He works, those tender chords. So it is a divine husband, divine groom. The Lord knows that work. So how do we, the hunger grows. The hunger grows when we're in one stage, we need to move forward. There's a certain dissatisfaction. We're happy but not happy. It's like, we had, in Israel, we had one precious lady who came to our weekly meetings. Her name was Helena Rosenius. Her name now is, the last name changed. What is it now? Helena Jukka. No, Helena Patrikainen. Patrikainen, yes. Helena was so hungry. She never got enough of the RAPS meetings. And I had a talk with her. I said, have you considered maybe, that was maybe 1996, 97. Have you considered going to Bible school? Because I see that I would love to share more, but I have my job on the side. Baltimore, I'll give him a good word for you, and let's see. Like normally you need to be so and so and so around with the recommendation, which is wise thing to do. But maybe they can cut it a little short. And that's what happened, whatever. And she came here, but she was so hungry. And then, when also the same with the work of God, that we need challenges. Young people need challenges. We need challenges. There's that face-to-face challenges. So when it has to do with prayer, one of the things is like loving the Lord, receiving from Him, praying, and all this. But there's a warfare phase also. The greatest lesson to me was when I was in Romania, 84, 85, whatever. Nowhere to turn to, two gunmen on me. I was looking forward to a long time in a very difficult place. No one to turn to. You had to hear the voice of God in your heart and cooperate with the Holy Spirit. And I could care less about what is the line of objectivity, subjectivity. I had no concepts in my mind. I just knew I had to hear God. And again, I didn't hear anything in my ears, but I heard God speaking inside of me because I was in a point of warfare that was so intense. The head of the secret police was on my throat, pushing my head to the wall. It was like demons in the room. It was, literally. So at that point I realized that this kingdom stuff is really there. We don't fight for the victory, from the victory, but the importance of prayer. There is such a thing as warfare prayer. There is such a thing like, apart from Colossians 4:12, praying and praying that they may stand in all the will of God. Most of my prayer is very delightful and just praising the Lord and singing. But then when it comes to the warfare phase, it's the Lord that does the warfare. Like, example, Reese Howells, that was in England, and when the Germans were rolling and coming with tanks that were going to take over England, Reese was fellowshipping with God, with a group of people, and the Spirit stirred him, and he stood up on a chair or table or whatever it was, and declared in the name of God, just declared, Germans are not going to take over England. It's going to stop. And they prayed, but they knew this is the case, that God doesn't want the Germans to take over. I am looking at things this way. Come north wind, come south wind, and blow upon your garment. In many countries, the table has become a snare. There was a time when, if you wanted to have this Bible, you had to sell your cow, or maybe your house, when Bibles came first out. It was very expensive. It was very expensive. In the Far East, in those countries, people go to jail for having a Bible for many years, and then they walk through the woods and put their life in danger to smuggle a copy of it. The table has become a snare. People take it very lightly, and I know the enjoyment and all this and capacity, but in a perspective, it's been taken in such a light way that when I read that verse, come north wind, come south wind, I am really concerned for the Western world. There could be a few years of respite, how do you say, respite or respite? Do all Americans agree? Even Southerners agree? Okay, the rest. Okay, tennis serve. Okay, I look at it this way. There could be a little breathing space still. I pray as long as possible. But it's either things are gonna go really wild, or we're gonna go up, or both. So as far as I'm concerned, every day to me, every week to me, every month to me, every year that we have, I'm taking it like, God, thank you. You've been very patient. We're watching, we're living right in Jerusalem. Very short distance from us is Syria, Iraq, all these places. The people that read the Aramaic Bible, the Christians, slaughtered by the thousands. Bishop Andrew White, whom I know so well, we sat together hours together. He was the bishop of Baghdad. I don't know if you know that name, but you may have seen him on television. Like, there was over 1,000 in the congregation, maybe 1,200. I don't remember the figures exactly, and I don't care. But I care about this. What happened is there was only a few hundred left. They killed them. There was a young boy That was his favorite home. They gave him the name Andrew. He saw when they came and God has just slaughtered him. And yeah. This is a reality that we're living now in a time of intense persecution. Just because it's not in Israel that way, or it's not in America that way, doesn't mean that it's not behind our door. Now, I pray for good times, if possible, but to me, I am looking at we're sitting on a time bomb, and I don't mean to speak scaringly, but the reality is that things are not quite normal. So, what a moment, what an opportunity. God, give us the perspective for the moment. So prayer, delight, beautiful things happening. I wrap this up this way. I was in front of the bookshop trying to listen to God in a normal way, like what is He maybe teaching me something. And in front of me are the steps to the museum. Steps. Beneath the steps, there's two young guys. They're fighting. They're having a fist fight. Oh my goodness, that's ugly. Should I interfere? No, I'm not going to do that. But then above them, on the top of the steps, there is a beautiful bride with the groom having their picture taken, white gown and everything. And I said, thank you, Lord. That says the whole thing to me. There's a nasty fight. I don't care what it's called, Democrats and other crats, or if it's called terrorism versus pizza men, I don't know. It's ugly on this level. But at the same time, the bride and the groom are getting ready. It's happening at the same time. That's my level, that there. But I gotta recognize this level. Prayer is preparing for this. But then there are moments. Remember, the bride is also a warrior bride. She's about war. She said, get yourself ready. Clean the wedding floor. Pull it out. You got a good sword. Clean the wedding floor. Sometimes we have a feeling like the devil's gone so far. There's a warrior side of us. There's a warrior side of us. I don't believe like the fleshly screaming and shouting and that kind of man-made fleshly Pentecostalism. It has nothing to do with me. But there are literally moments that God says to us, sometimes he says, pray and love and get the verses. But sometimes he says, there's a seed out there. Just stay with me and pray about that. Just pray about that. Just pray about that. I'm going to change it. And if nobody prays, it's not going to change. Right?
You mentioned the wedding floor being cleansed, quoting from a prophet, right?
I was actually...
I mean, earlier today, or was it last night?
Sorry, I can't remember.
Was it earlier today?
What was it? What was it?
Earlier today, you were talking about cleaning the wedding floor.
Oh yeah, Psalm 45. Psalm 45. Wow, Psalm 45 is cool. Let's look at it. Because if you read it literally, it's about the Bema seat. I read it in Hebraic, and if translators translate it differently, it's all right. I have no problem with that. But I'm going to read it straight, how it's in Hebraic. My heart is ignorant in the good matter. I speak of the things which I have made to the king, Lam Melech, to the king, and you could bend it a little bit that our king's making, but touching the king is okay, but it's kind of like roundabout way. Directly, which I'm speaking to the king. This is like the Bema seat. Now we come to a theological question. There are theologians who say that the matters of the New Testament were not revealed in the Old Testament. Yeah, but what did Paul say? He says that, behold, I show you the mystery. He doesn't say, I declare you the mystery the first time. A lot of these mysteries were alluded there, but they didn't know what they were. Example, who are these that fly like doves, like a big bunch of doves, a flock of doves? What do you call birds? Flock? A flock of doves. Who are these that fly like a big flock of white doves to their home? Who are these? What are these? Hey, the commentators say that that's Jews going home in airplanes. I don't know about that. I've never seen 50 or 100 airplanes coming just at once like that. That would be pretty bad. I tell you what I think it is. I think he saw the rapture, but he didn't know what it was. And he said, who are these? And Paul said, behold, I show you the mystery. First Peter 1 says that these things were there already spoken, but now they're revealed to us. Okay? That's my take. If that's not your take, I don't care. But they knew. And my take, which is free, but you don't have to take, is that he's talking about possibly about the Bema seat. My tongue is a pen and a ready writer. And when he's talking about these things, he is talking in this way that you gave me grace. And when she is giving report of herself, she's thinking about the grace of God. And she says, you are fairer, thou art fairer than the children of men. The Bema seat scene turns to a praise session. It doesn't sound anything like a fearful moment for the lover. It turns to a praise session, how fair you are. Grace is poured. There's someone here tonight called Grace. She has gracious heart. Grace is poured into thy lips. Therefore God has blessed thee forever. And what she's saying is, it's your grace, this message I heard, that caused me to do it. And that's why it's so easy to talk about it. And then she says, now gird your sword on your thigh. Get your sword on, O Most Mighty, with thy glory and thy majesty. And ride prosperously, and then your arrows are going to do their job. So when the 666 comes, we said God answers with 777. And the 777 is basically just like great action, the huge brooms that clean the wedding floor. I love body life on the earth. I love the Lord's body in whatever city and corner it is, even if it's in Siberia or here in Baltimore, Jerusalem. I love body life. But I tell you, if the Lord says, come up here, I'm not thinking twice. I'm not saying, I'm not sure. I'm not saying, can I wash my feet first and put on my coat? By the Lord's grace, I'm not saying that. I wish it were tonight. But it's good to have body life until He comes.
Do you want to get a question from anybody here? Or?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Any
Or a comment, or a
A
testimony.
comment? Actually, if you read that psalm, I mean, Pastor Ben, you know it real well, but maybe for some of us, you see, it's the, he's talking to the bride, right?
Yeah, to the
The
king.
king.
Yeah, yeah.
The king's daughter is all glorious within. Who is the king's daughter? In verse 13.
45 and verse
13.
13. The king's daughter is all glorious within. Her clothing is, oh my goodness, of wrought gold. She shall be brought unto the king in raiment of needlework. The virgins or companions that follow her shall be brought unto thee. This is the wife, the bride. The pictures sometimes overlap. It's
Yeah.
like they do overlap. This king's daughter is the chosen one. With gladness and rejoicing they shall be brought. They shall enter the king's palace. King's daughter, and in verse 10 it's, O daughter, and then there are many king's daughters. So we're king's kids, but we also the wife.
That's good to know that. Yeah, thank you. And then what about our garments smelling of myrrh and aloes? Verse 8.
Verse, yeah.
Verse 8.
Okay. Wow. Wow. This is actually, yeah. Verse 8. All thy garments smell of myrrh. The king, is verse 7 is the king. I would need the Hebrew here because if it's talking to a male or to a female makes all the world difference. And English grammar does not show it. Hebrew shows it instantly. But verse 8, all thy garments are of myrrh and aloes and cassia out of the ivory places whereby they have made thee glad. It seems it's talking to the king, but I can't see in the English text, is it talking to a male or female?
Okay.
But it seems in the context that it's talking about the king. The
Jesus.
Yes, myrrh is the power of the cross, power of his death. Yes. Aloes, cassia, ivory places, these are the sweetnesses wherewith they made thee glad. King's daughters were among thy honorable women. Upon thy right hand did the queen stand the queen in gold of Ophir. Ophir is a place where it's very expensive. The best quality of gold is the gold of Ophir. The book of Revelation talks about gold purified. The last church, that they need gold purified with fire. This gold is the highest gold, the gold of Ophir. There's many kinds of gold. This is a teaching of the Lord that is bringing his nature that comes out of the deep places. Hearken, O daughter, and consider and incline thine ear. Forget also thine own people and thy father's house. And this is where we don't gravitate to humanity, or to how things are in the flesh, according to the flesh. This is totally brought into the new creation reality, not to our own natural starting place. Forget thine own people and thy father's house. That's the opposite of what is in Oman. That's the opposite of what is in. There's twice in the Song of Songs where she wants to take him to the mother's house. The second time is in chapter 8. First time is earlier. And each time that she wants to take the king lover, the Lord, to the mother's house, there follows a walk in the wilderness. The wilderness walk is being weaned from that.
Idea. Weaned from that idea.
Weaned, well, yes,
Like come to
weaned
my
from.
mother's house, is that a carnal thing?
In the first stage, it's not as dangerous because that's all she knows to do, to take him to her world. But then she says, yeah, I already came to your world in salvation. Now I'm taking you to mine. What is happening in the last 10, 20 years is amazing perspective. Again, in the general world of believers, there's a huge going to the mother's house. There's searching for the roots. There's a positive part about it is that people want to know what is the real thing. In Jerusalem, people come and say, what are really the roots of faith? Give me the history, the background, the positive aspect. But, what has happened is many evangelical denominations, okay, they go to where things were earlier, Catholic tradition, Orthodox Church tradition, and I'm trying to be careful where how I phrase it, but then sometime a little altar appears in the church like a Catholic type or Orthodox church type, and it's going back to where we were before, to the mother's house. Yes. So in chapter 8 it says, she's taken and says, I would take you to my mother's house. There we had that spiced drink that way. I would give you that drink. And she would teach. The mother would teach. Tradition would teach. That was what was alive 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago. And there are jewels that we can take. But when it's a house, it's a box, it's a bondage. And then the Lord says, you remember where I brought you up. You taught us that in Finland, this verse, in the Bible school, so alive. I still remember that I brought you up under the apple tree, the tree of love. Where is the free wind? The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, and thou knowest not whither it cometh or whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit, in modern English. Yes, English is modern English. It's in a modern period, by the way. You know that. Okay, so that was mother's house language. So it's in the free wind, where the wind blows where it wants. That is the place of love. So there's this Messianic Jews started out fresh. They're going back more and more to rabbinic. Now I take word studies here and there. but I will not go to the mother's house.
Mm.
Many churches go back to the mother's house, and we know what happens then. Things get stale. You know what I'm saying? It's not wrong to learn from history. I read and reread history for perspective's sake, but this is something else.
Yeah, it's like an emptiness. Like if you are disappointed with the evangelical church, like let's say this one, and you're here and it's on fire, you go through 10 years as a disciple, as a follower, and then you are somehow disappointed. The pastor falls into sin. The church is divided. There's a split. You just get disappointed. It could be that you go back to being a Catholic. You know.
It has happened to me.
Yeah, I mean, we know that it does. And or I will never go to a church again, or I go wandering around. You know. And so let me take you. I say to Jesus, let me take you to my mother's house. so this is the context of what Pastor Ben is saying, and I'm saying that I can see that happening, but me not being satisfied in my mother's house, because I don't want to go backwards. Because Ecclesiastes, this is another question I want to ask you. Actually, I have a couple thoughts. One is, Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes, for me, is one of my favorite books in the Bible. It's because of essentially what it's saying, that life is essentially empty. I can't find, without God, I can't really find the meaning of life. And then it's just the next book is Song of Solomon. And Song of Solomon is exactly the opposite of Ecclesiastes, you know. And we find what Pastor Ben is saying, love, mystery. I love the whole idea of mystical Christianity. I love that. That's one reason I was drawn to Dr. Stevens, because he was spiritually minded and he had a love for the mysteries of Christ. You know, pray for me that I would open my mouth as I ought to make known the mysteries of Christ. This is amazing. When we have that, then I don't want to go to my mother's house. I'm in love with my lover and I are going to start a new life. We're not going back to my mother's house. You know, we're going to have a new family. A man is to leave his mother and father, a woman is to leave her mother and father, and form a new family. And that's amazing. That's what I want in my life. I want something. We've never been this way before. Joshua 3, you know, verses 1 and 2. Jesus coming, imagine Jesus Christ coming into the lives of these Jewish fishermen. And it's like, what? You know, what? It's like they would go to sleep at night around a campfire, and they'd probably be there like looking at each other, you know, laying on the ground, and they're like, you know, looking at each other, and they go, you know, this is crazy. Did you see, you know, like they saw lepers healed, and people raised from the dead, and blind men healed, and Jesus talking and teaching. It must have blown their minds. I mean, shockingly. Like, let's go back to our mother's house. Are you kidding me? That's not even in the picture. So this kind of, the last thing I wanted to ask you about, because we can close in a minute, is you mentioned in your talk about the cross. The cross. Now, I know you know that subject very well. You know that subject. You know, okay, you don't know it at all. I know. I know, I've heard it before. I don't know. I know, we don't know. But There are people in the Christian world, they know nothing about it. They know nothing about the cross. They know nothing about it. They never heard a message about it. They don't know what it means when they read it in the Bible. So I want you to use, like, just share with us, if you like 3 examples, very practical examples, like, I don't know what they would be, just very practical. Like, I would be living in Finland today, Pastor Ben would be living in the forest and fishing on a lake. Have you ever seen the video? Pastor Monty sent me this video of this Finnish guy fishing, and he's just quiet, you know how they are, just saying nothing, rowing out. Period. Have you seen it? I mean, 50-year-old, 60-year-old guy by himself on a boat, just fishing. And Pastor Monty said, this is probably what I would be doing if I didn't follow Jesus. You know what I mean? So, all right, I would be living in Finland, but I took up the cross. What does that mean? I was hurt one time by my best friend, or I was hurt in my life. I was disappointed by God, but I took up the cross. I mean, just talk to us about that.
There is the fact that we already are crucified. That's the inner cross. But then there's this cross that comes from outside world to us. And so that has to meet that, like they say, the road has to meet the rubber, right? When I say that, sometimes people think that I don't know English. I'm saying it that way on purpose. Okay. No, honestly, seriously. The cross, we are crucified people. We have the cross on the inside, or better this way. The crucified one who rose from the dead is living inside of me. Then the challenge comes from outside world. And he is giving me an opportunity to respond to him, to be himself in a situation, so that I respond to the cross on the outside, which is that I ask him, what is his will? If I don't consider that the crucified and living one is in me, I'm thinking it's just my decision. It's just my way. And if I don't accept the limitations that God gives me, I say what God gives me. Yeah, I'm limiting the Holy One of Israel. My spirit is suffering, and I'm thinking I'm happy, but I'm deceiving myself. If the Lord is pleased in me, I can be pleased. If He's not happy in my heart, He can't be happy. The only way to be blessed is with the cross. But there's a difference. In the Song of Songs, there's a situation where the lover was looking for the Lord and passed some people that were over here. She passed, maybe it was those traditional people that were the mother's house people, or whoever they were, the people. They had the established way of practicing something here. And the seeker of the Lord passed them and went over there. And then there was a point when the people, the watchmen in the city, found her. That she was looking for the Lord. And the watchman thought she's out making trouble, looking for trouble or making trouble. And she should be over here where the people that are more or less in the mother's house, she should be there. So they rip her veil away and beat her because they didn't understand. The cross that the Lord gives to me, I must take. I must take. I'm free to take. I'm free also to wait and not take it. But I lose my freedom if I do that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there are also situations where the people that, okay, this is a little different topic, but I'm living in a city where there's a lot of religion, okay? Where a lot of people are told the cross is what it isn't. And in Galatians, the teachers, the mother house teachers, they came and you gotta do this, you gotta do this, and you have to do this so that you can really know God and please Him. That is, where the religion says this is your cross. It's not the cross, it was what they were saying. But the cross is the will of God. The cross is laying down our life for the brothers, for the expansion, for the excellency of the knowledge of God. By the way, I can know what is my cross. I cannot always know what is someone else's cross. I can misread their life sometimes. I want to be the one who seeks after the Lord and passes the watchman and not gets, and gets a few beatings. I don't want to be the beater because I don't want to be the mother house person that I experience God a certain way, and if they are not, let me say it that way, I have a capacity to do this. And say, I have a capacity to pray 3 hours straight. And if I say to somebody, you gotta do that, and they don't have a capacity to pray then 30 minutes, and I beat them into it, I kill them. And it's not the cross. Sorry, I went a little bit away from the topic, but I'm living in a city of religion, and I see it all the time. Things up in Boston, people, it kills their capacity.
Yeah. I respect that totally, but you have also mentioned the last couple of days that when we receive grace, it means now we are able to obey God and actually love the law. Like we love the law. Like if you say that in some evangelical churches, like the law, we're not under the law, we're under grace, And the law, Christ is the end of the law, to those that believe. We have a very carnal church in America. The evangelical church is either error. One is the legalism, which you mentioned, and the other one is antinomianism. And it's a beautiful thing when Jesus becomes real. And this is why we love your ministry so much, because we just know and believe that your walk with Jesus is real. And this inspires us, and we love to hear you and be with you and be in the body because it's real, and we love the law. You can take the 10 Commandments and just teach about how much you love the 10 Commandments based on the health of the 10 Commandments. Like, for example, you should not commit adultery. Adultery is the total disaster for the human heart. Adultery is damage to many people, not just 2 people, but to families. It's damage to, potentially like many people that hurts a lot of people. And the damage 3 months after the affair, and the amazing guilt and the regret and the complications and the danger. I mean, we had a case up in New England, this case where this man committed adultery. The husband came to the man's house with a baseball bat. There were 3 or 4 cars parked in the driveway. He broke every window on every car.
Wow.
He went around the house. He broke every window, every basement window, every window he could reach. He just smashed every window in the house. This man was furious. Okay. When God says you shall not commit adultery, what is he saying? You know? It's like a violation on many levels. And if you as a man are able to live, and this was all by God's grace, I mean, you know, but if I learn to hate sin and love the law, it may be that I'll be saved. But the Christian is saying, I got grace, you know. Wow, man, this girl at the office, I'm really attracted to. I mean, I think there's something going on. I mean, there's a chemistry. I can't explain it. I'm in love with her. She loves me. I mean, you know, what this is like, you know, wow, this is amazing. That man, what does he know? You know, what kind of church is teaching him? What is he learning? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what when I say,
Right.
when I say the cross, it means it contradicts your nature. You don't feed your sin nature. The cross says you're going to lose something. And when do we hear that, Pastor?
Yeah.
Deny yourself. I mean, really. When do we ever hear deny yourself, you know? Really, in our society. Yes, feed yourself. You deserve this. I hate that sentence. When you go to buy, you know, you go to buy a car or you buy somebody, you know, whatever you're doing, you know, you deserve this. It's like, don't ever say that sentence to me. You don't know who you're talking to. I don't think like that. I don't think like that. I don't want to hear that. That's garbage. I deserve what? What do you know about my life? How do you know that what I deserve? You know what I mean? It's just selling people.
Exactly.
And it feeds it, and we don't have any defense. We don't have any sense of conviction. We're not in love with Jesus. We are not in love with Jesus because we're so much in love with ourselves. And so we'll take Jesus to our mother's house, and Jesus will say, no thanks. Like, no thanks, I got something going on. And if you go with me, you'll be on fire.
Wow.
I will light you up. You will be on fire. And you'll learn of me and know me, and you will enjoy it. Isn't that beautiful? Really? Okay, Pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In First Corinthians, Paul said, I could not talk to you as spiritual, but as to babies. And the reality is most of the body of the Lord, the church, is in a baby state. So it's not really possible to talk to a lot of people that are like spiritual. It is not. So the way we approach this topic or any topic really is depending on where we practically are more. Are we in the courtyard, in the middle part, or in the more inner court? Because in the more inner court is like, even if the topic of an altar will come up, is like, it's crazy. It's even pointless to even offer that. It's like, you know, I got the real thing with the Lord and my wife is fantastic. Okay, like we would see a movie, an airplane or something on a steamer. I don't even want this. I got this. You know, if we are rightly related to it. But most of the church is not. That's why Paul is saying, I got to talk to you like to babies. So really, it's so true what you're saying. One more thing about the law. In Hebraic, Do you know what is the first commandment in a Hebrew Bible read in a Hebrew way? First commandment in the Ten Commandments.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Sorry?
No
Thou
other
shalt have
gods.
no other gods before me.
That's the way it's taken here. Yes, but in a Hebrew Bible, the way it's right there, and it's in a Hebrew way. First commandment is, I am the Lord your God. Period. That's the first commandment. It's nothing to do, everything to receive. So he's saying that I'm here to be your everything.
Mm.
I provide everything to you. I'm all things to you. Psalm 119:25. Give me your law graciously. Remove from me all false way. Every false way. If I don't take the law graciously, I have a false way. Because the law testifies about who God is. Law is called the testimony. It's also the law, but it's a testimony. It's the ark of the testimony. So what is it testifying? Not just about how bad man is, but first how good God is, how his life lives. But now where does the trouble come from? Law, Paul does say law is good, law is spiritual and fun. Yes, the law is good. It's, give me your law graciously. So where does the trouble come? Because it says the law works around. Because we say, okay, it works like this. There was that hotel in, what city was it? And there's a nice pond of water next to the hotel. People used to relax and read newspapers and take the sunshine. And nobody threw fishing rods on the water. But somebody put up a sign, no fishing. The fishing rod started getting there. I did it my way. So what is the problem? What is the problem? Paul said that what exposed me was, well, it says, thou shalt not covet. When every commandment is gracious, when it says, do not steal, God is saying, I'm the Lord your God. I'm your provider. So if I receive him as my provider, I'm not going to steal. If I steal, I reject him as my provider. This same principle goes for every commandment. Where does it come then? Because sinful man says, it's not my way.
Mm-hmm.
I want this guy's on my way. I want to throw him to a graveyard. The criminal says, he's on my way. He doesn't receive the Lord's way as a gift. So the problem is only this, because it's not our way. It's the orphan spirit. It's the spirit, I gotta make my own future, my way. I don't want the grace of God here. Then God says, okay, fine. I cannot help you by being just your God. I gotta come barefoot, walk, bury the cross, carry the cross, die, be raised from the dead, to strip you of everything by this humble example, that you can see you are not even able to receive my grace like that. Now I gotta go this way and show myself naked on a cross. Now you can. It's so hard to kill this my way spirit. But grace can do it. The law was not bad. It's holy, but my flesh is that bad. It's not how hard is the punishment, it's how evil is sin. But there's another thing better. How good is God. I forget this is not a time to preach, it's a time for questions. I always get carried away. I can't remember your mom, you know, well, I get carried away.
Isn't this where Jesus brings us to the Father's house? When you see Jesus obeying the Father through his life, isn't this the living cross?
Yes.
Isn't this the life of the cross?
Yes.
And we see Jesus obeying the Father every step.
Yes.
You know, it says in Hebrews, you know,
Yes.
10:7, where it says, lo, it's written in the volume, I come to do thy will.
Yes.
So I mean, we think of the finished work, him dying at Calvary. Isn't it that he lived his whole life in obedience to our Father? And
Yes.
he brings us to the Father's house? I love how you just bring that out, First Commandment.
And this life is now bulging in our hearts.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Don't take me to the mother's house. But also I have a temptation to think that I should go back to 20, 30 years, that I remember a sweetness of the memory of the Lennox Pond prayer meeting. It was awesome. But I can't go back to yesterday.
That's important.
I don't believe in yesterday. I don't believe in that song. I don't believe in yesterday.
Is there a song about that?
I never heard that.
Is that a Beatles song?
No, there is a song.
Oh,
But I,
yeah. Oh, yeah. There's that other one too. There is a time and season for everything under the heaven.
That's right.
Right?
yeah, that's a biblical song.
That's another
That's a
one.
biblical song. Turn. That's biblical.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, wow. There's so many good things in this.
Hmm.
And what goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as pastors, we have the challenge of leading the, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? We, you, me, every pastor in this country cares that every person in the church would find a vital, living relationship with Christ. You know, how can that happen? How does it happen? How can we see that happen? Like you said, there's a lot of patience, right? There's prayer. There's God's grace moving, the Spirit moving and speaking to people. You know, we may say something, but the Spirit has to speak. And the other thing, and we can close, but the other thing is, if you, we want to just find the personal life in, you said, prayer and Bible reading in our life of knowing that how much God loves me and hearing from God in communion. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very important
Yeah.
and challenging. Okay. Yeah, you want to close, Pastor, or you want to keep going?
I wanna say that thank you, Lord, also for those moments when we have had some kind of failures, that they have taught us, Lord, to know your heart of grace. And thank you, Lord, that when we have failed and received your grace, we all have failed in something. But we don't always have to live in failure. But we can never lose that place of need, that if we're left to ourselves, we are not living in victory by our willpower, but by leaning on you. We're never better than anyone else. And even if we have a fellowship where has been graceful, it is your grace. And we want to be small in our own eyes, that if we meet someone anywhere on a street corner, in the airplane, that needs a good word, then we would never bypass someone. And when we share the gospel, that we always remember, we're not better than them, but we are recommending them the grace of God that found us. That says that the just died for the hours of shame. So Lord, keep us in that place, and also under the apple tree of your love. And when we find your riches, that we'll find always that we want to share and listen to other portions. Thank you for that enrichment that is in body life, where you place us with that possibility. Thank you for the past, where it's been investment for this moment, for tomorrow. We're not afraid what will happen. We don't need to be afraid of anything, but we're living realistically that time is short, and we thank you for that.
Amen.
By the way, what is the time? 10 to 10. Do we have to close? I don't know.
No, we,
I don't know.
I feel pretty
Uh,
good.
I've never